Good evening, friends. Welcome to day 78 of A Poem a Day for 2026. It's Thursday. Yeah, Thursday the 19th of March. Just jumping on before I go and get myself ready for training. It's been a day. I can't explain why, but I feel like I'm full of fizzy, nervous energy, and it's really scuppering my concentration, which is making work difficult. But now that it's finished work, that is the nervous energy is still there. I'm just kind of going, yeah, and trying to think what I need to do to get ready. So I was like, let's get the poem out of the way, let's get that sorted, and then we'll see what we need to do. So I'm hoping that going through this with you, friends, will give me that grounded feeling I've had recently, and I'll be able to kind of tackle my pre-training tasks. So, on to the poetry. A nice warm big red book. So, there's a name I recognise. 19th of March presented to us a piece called Historical Associations by Robert Louis Stevenson. And our blurb reads as follows. Among Robert Louis Stevenson's most famous works today are the novels Treasure Island and, a personal favourite of mine, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He was also noted for his wonderful volume of poetry, A Child's Garden of Verses. This imaginative poem is a series of reflections or jumps between thoughts as a child, playing with his uncle, travels far and wide through geography and history, and still gets home in time for tea. So this is Historical Associations by Robert Louis Stevenson. Dear Uncle Jim, this garden ground that now you smoke your pipe around has seen immortal actions done and valiant battles lost and won. Here we had best on tiptoe tread, while I for safety march ahead. For this is that enchanted ground, where all who loiter slumber sound. Here is the sea, here is the sand, here is simple shepherd's land. Here is the fairy hollyhocks, and there are Ali Baba's rocks. But yonder, see, apart and high, frozen Siberia lies, where I, with Robert Bruce and William Tell, was bound by an enchanter's spell. There then a while in chains we lay, in wintry dungeons far from day, but risen at length with might and main, our iron fetters burst in twain. Then all the horns were blown in town, and to the ramparts charging down, all the giants leaped to horse, and charged behind us through the gorse. On we rode, the others and I, over the mountains blue and by the silver river, the sounding sea, and the robber woods of Tartary. 1,000 miles we galloped fast, and down the witches' lane we passed, and rode amain with brandished sword, up to the middle through the ford. Last we drew rein, a weary three, upon the lawn in time for tea, and from our steed alighted down before the gates of Babylon. That was marvellous. Now there was a man who had a way with words. If you are a fan of Gothic literature and historical works, I cannot recommend Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde enough. It's not an incredibly long book. In a similar vein, by Oscar Wilde, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Read them both, I believe, as part of my A-level studies in English literature. Just brilliant books, but equally, like Jekyll and Hyde, very dark, and if I remember rightly, quite brutal and violent in some parts. And I think this here proves just quite how skilled Stevenson was, that he was then able to turn his hand to such light and flighty poetry as historical associations, that was part of a collection for children. Truly wonderful. And I do feel more settled. I hope you do too. If there's anything that's been bothering you, or has been nipping at your heels, I hope adventuring through all those time periods with Uncle Jim and young Robert and me has helped to settle you. Until tomorrow, dear friends, I bid you